everybody, and welcome back to the GroomsMen. This is Scott. Video 3. So this is going to be part 3 of the high proof razor. Upon my last review, I said I wouldn't recommend this razor, and high proof got notified of my review, and they asked or gave a video of some hints and stuff to try. So I shaved with it again, and I'm about to shave with it for the final time. I shaved with it yesterday, and then I started pondering some things about this razor. And I've came up to a few more conclusions and some stuff that I think should maybe be discussed. And we'll leave it at that, and we'll see what High Proof has to, or what they think of my third review. Okay, so just got out of the shower. You see my hair's still wet. This is the silver high proof. I have two of these. I have a black one and a silver one. I don't think I used the silver one on camera yet. My wife did try this today to no regard, as in loves the concept, loves the head of the razor, but also has issues with the head of the razor. And we'll discuss some of those today. So my wife's reaction to this was, if they would have hit the mark, so to speak, be fantastic. But I think it's a good concept, but it does need some refining. So I guess with every type of Kickstarter thing, that's where you kind of start. So I will say they're innovative with the reaction of the spring back because of the opposing spring, or the opposing magnetic fields here in the back. But with that being said, I got told to use a sharper razor, which that was in the tips video that I had noticed. And remember, I said something about this being super mild, so maybe you need sharper things. So this is the lab blue that they sent with the razors, made in America. You can see it fits in there just like that. And then you put the cap in here just like any other time. All right. So one of the biggest things I noticed with this yesterday and using it, I will go ahead and, let's get soaped up, get wetted up. And they said for rinsing to leave water in the sink. I don't know that I'm going to do that, because I know you would slosh it around. Yeah, I've had issues with it plugging up and so on and so forth, but let's go ahead and get wetted up. Keep the wetness going from the shower. I'm going to just use what I got laying around here for soap. I have Ariana and Evans. I think this is the Kaizen set or Ryzen set. I don't remember exactly. It's A&E. This is a set that was given to me by JD, the groomsman here. I've had it a while. But let's go ahead and get my Badger. I'm using my Best Badger brush again from Razor Emporium. Alright, this is their big Whomping Monster that I love. So I'm going to be bowl loading here, where we get, we work it up in the bowl. And then presume to go ahead and put it on my face. I will pre-shave, because I'm trying to get as much slickness as I can, especially considering the way things have been going with this razor. Some of the things that I've noticed. So again, get wetted up here, get my pre-shave bar from Razor Emporium, and go from there. You want to get it to where you get like a white, you can see it starts to like leave a soap deposit on your face, because then you know that you got a good coverage with your pre-shave soap. And then let's go ahead and grab the Badger and get that on the face too. And so this is going to be a thinner lather. I've noticed, like I said in the last videos, I had plugging with longer hair and so on and so forth. And here we go. There's the lather. Okay, so get this warmed up. I was told that you got to get it warm. My water coming out of my tap is about 124 degrees per it follows in the recommendation. So there, I'm getting it warmed up. I'm letting it sit under the head for at least 10 seconds here. All right, good enough. And okay, with the grain, I have 1 day's growth here, and you can see it's taking it off nice and smooth. The razor itself is smooth. No blade feel, very mild, all right? So something I realized with this yesterday, especially on the upstroke or against the grain stroke, all right? I have tried shaving with this thing every which way, and just like any cartridge razor, you're gonna wanna push this razor. So you're pushing your skin into it. So one of the things I have found with this that is an issue is, look at this. If you look at that, you can see that it is one plane. It is one geometry from the safety bar to here, and then there's a slight just indent right there that goes with the blade. So one of the things that I found with this is you get a lot of suction, especially against the grain, all right? I know I'm not against the grain yet, but there is a suction action happening between the head of the razor and that of my skin. And my wife experienced that today in the shower with a shower shave. As she was dragging it across her leg, she said it was like catching her skin, kind of like this, and then like the razor, its head itself, felt like it was jumping and skipping. So she was having to make more multiple passes or buffing passes than she should normally have to. All right. So that's the first thing that I've noticed with this. And the safety bar or the guard bar that you want to call it is directly in line with the head up here. So the gap is literally just this divot or quote unquote pothole that they had put in there. And I feel that that is not big enough to get a close enough shave, because that's the other thing I've noticed about this, that the shaves that I'm getting with double edge razors are closer. You know, that's a first. Can't say I've ever had it come apart like that on me. Huh. Okay. But anyway, that divot is like a pothole. So essentially, if you have longer hair, like when I tried to shave with it when I had, like 10 days growth, okay, it's not meant for heavy growth, that's fine. But what it does is if you have any sort of type of longer hair, it's gonna push that stuff, kind of like if I use this tube of toothpaste. You imagine this is hair follicle. Well, if there's only a slight divot as it's coming for it, it's gonna kind of like push this hair like this and kind of lop it off here. Whereas instead of, if you think of a traditional DE, which right here I got, whatever, the plow, you can see that they're not directly in line, and there's a big enough gap that the hair slides into with the scallops on this one. It slides into the blade. It has a blade gap, right? There is no traditional blade gap with this thing. And for the fact that there isn't, the hair gets cut unevenly, all right? So that's why the closeness of the shaves has not been that close with this razor, to be honest. Does it give you an okay shave? Sure. Does it give you a BBS? No, not really, not even at all. I buffed the crap out of my face yesterday with this thing against the grain. So with the grain, it's okay. It's mild. It doesn't have blade feel, so on and so forth. It doesn't drag. With the grain is where I have found the suction to be a real problem. And like I told you, it's a solid plane razor. There's a lot of metal that are on the same plane as each other. Whereas if you think like this, there's not that much metal on the same plane because it breaks and it's at a curve, right? So I did a little bit of investigating and thinking about this. Being it's on the same plane or the same level, how much is it? Well, from the guard to the plane right here where it finally breaks and curves is a 1/2 inch of solid metal. Okay, that half inch of solid metal with no type of breaks on the surface of it other than the pothole, so to speak, it creates that drag that I've been experiencing, the suction that I've been experiencing with this thing. So somehow they would need to figure out how to break this plane and not make it a 1/2 inch, offset the guard a little bit. I'm not saying a ton, just a little bit. You could still make it mild and you could get a better shave with this thing, all right? That's all I'm suggesting. And then I can hear it already. Well, what do you know? You're not an engineer, you're not a machinist, you're not a whatever, right? Well, what I do know is I'm a chemist. I build houses, I work on cars. and have worked on cars for 15 plus years now. And no, I'm not just a oil change guy, all right? I've roofed houses, I've framed houses, I've done all that stuff in my lifetime. So I'm pretty mechanically inclined. And I did start life out at school as a mechanical engineer. I did 2 years of mechanical engineering before I realized that it wasn't for me. So, yes, I'm not a machinist. Couldn't run a machine if you tried. Could I figure it out if I was taught? Yeah, well, sure, so could anyone, right? But those are my thoughts, is the fact that this thing is such a plane like that, that's why you're having issues with suction and blah, blah, blah that I've had nonstop. My wife told me that after her shave, it would be about the same as if she had 2 days stubble on her legs, all right? And to be honest with you, with my face, I'm not gonna say 2 days stubble, okay? I'm not gonna go that extreme, but do a lot of buffing, and what I have realized with this thing, it does not get that close to the shave. So, all in all, those are my thoughts. Those are the things I think that they could do to improve this razor. I stand by my, I'm sorry, but for $135, it's not worth it. I will be, they said something in the last video about, you know, if you're not 100% satisfied, you return it. I will be returning my high proofs. So, as far as that goes, it is what it is. Did I do a second shave, a third shave, a fourth shave? This is my 5th shave with this thing. To try to, see, this is where the real drag is. That against the grain, it really drags on your face. And for such a mild razor, that's the thing that gets me. It isn't so much the initial with the grain, it's the against the grain that has been a real killer. I mean, just look at it. You can listen. I got to buff the living crap out of my chin to try to even get a close shave with this thing. So, because I got out of the shower, I shaved in the shower yesterday with it to see, because that's where I usually shave. Yeah, I know, whatever, a waste of water. I know, shoot me. But I'm telling you, from my perspective, the things I have seen with this razor, the concept is great. Do they hit the concept? I don't think so. All right. And I'm just saying, I will only ever give my honest opinion about things. I don't care if you, I'm not going to try to beat around the bush. I'm going to tell you the facts. I'm going to tell you everything I know about it. So even with a sharper blade, this razor still does not live up to its height. It does not get that close to the shave. Yes, I only do 2 pass. I get that. But if I use my Merkur 23C, I get a closer 2-pass shave than I do with that thing. And I do far more buffing with that razor than I ever would with Merkur. So I stand by my review. I give you an update. I've tried what they've asked me to do or suggested. And I'm going to take their other suggestion. If you're not satisfied, you can return it for a full refund. That's what I'm going to do. My wife doesn't like it. Not a huge fan of it. The concept is great, okay? So if anything high proof, I will say your concept is great. And again, the head fell off this thing. I don't understand what's going on with this now all of a sudden. So, I really do wish that, you know, you hear me out a little bit on some of these things, all right? Because one of the things, let me show you here. Okay. This is the twig. And you can see, look how small this head is with the amount of contact that it has with your skin versus this. That's why I'm getting that suction pull drag, especially against the grain, whereas with the twig I don't. And even look here. You see the blade gap, the offset of the head? You can see that there's an offset there. That offset allows the hair to get a cleaner cut with the twig. So, You may just think this is me trying to, blow smoke or whatever the story is, but I am a man of science. I am a scientist, and I stand by what I said. Sorry, but I would not recommend this razor. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and have a good day.